always comes critics, and there have been some who say you're now using sort of this situation for fame or to cash in. How would you respond to that criticism?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm a very private person, and I don't like the fame. But the one thing that I can do with it is some good. So I'm not in it for fame or fortune. My story is important to me. It happened to me. And I just want to be an advocate. I want to be somebody that can help others. That's seriously.
People might hide from the spotlight, but you're going in a different direction.
Sometimes I kind of feel like I have no choice.
What do you mean by that? Certainly you have choice. You don't have to post.
No, I don't. But I mean, I think that with social media is concerned, I think that I wanted to be like everyone else and have that right of freedom to have social media and interact with my friends online. I had no idea that I would have my past of sexual abuse. So I was molested when I was 9 by my grandfather. And then in my relationship with Nick, there was some sexual abuse. It was just a very toxic relationship. So coming from a place where I never had a sex life, I never felt safe. It was like being used and abused.
After being released from prison, Gypsy claimed that she wanted to leave her past behind and use her story for good. In her very first interview, she told the public, "I am a very private person and I don't like the fame, but the one thing I can do with it is some good. I'm not in it for fame or fortune. My story is important to me. It happened to me and I just want to be an advocate. I want to be somebody that can help others." At first, this statement seemed genuine. After all, what better way to move forward than by helping others who had also experienced trauma?
Critics, and there have been some who say you're now using sort of this situation for fame or to cash in. How would you respond to that criticism?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm a very private person, and I don't like the fame. But the one thing that I can do with it is some good. So I'm not in it for fame or fortune. My story is important to me. It happened to me. And I just want to be an advocate. I want to be somebody that can help others. That's seriously all that I want.
However, soon after this interview aired, Gypsy made a shocking about face. She released a public statement asking people to stop asking her to advocate for victims. This immediate contradiction, claiming to want to help others only to reject that role, left many questioning her sincerity. Why would someone who initially stated they wanted to be an advocate so quickly abandon that mission? The answer becomes clearer when you look at Gypsy's actions. It appears that her original statement about wanting to help others was made purely to garner public approval.
Some people might hide from the spotlight, but you're going in a different direction.
Sometimes I kind of feel like I have no choice.
What do you mean by that? Certainly you have choice. You don't have to post.
No, I don't. But I mean, I think that with social media is concerned, I think that I wanted to be like everyone else and have that right of freedom to have social media and interact with my friends online. I had no idea that I would have 9.8 million followers.
The truth is, once the public was no longer sympathetic and began questioning her motives, Gypsy dropped the act. Gypsy's manipulative behavior was on full display during her appearance on The Kardashian Show.
Hi, Gypsy.
Hi! It's so nice to meet you.
In this high-profile interview, Gypsy was sat down with Kim Kardashian and shared that she couldn't receive therapy while in prison because she didn't qualify. She implied that she was denied the help she needed, further painting herself as the victim even after her release.
What I'm left with now is, I did my 8.5 years in prison, so I paid my dues to the state. Now let's see what I can do with my new life and my second chance.
However, this claim was quickly debunked. Gypsy could have easily requested therapy at any point during her incarceration, but she chose not to. This wasn't just an oversight. It was an outright lie, one that reinforced the idea that Gypsy wanted to continue playing the victim in the public eye. Why lie about something as serious as therapy? Because it fed into the narrative that Gypsy had been denied essential care and remained at the mercy of others, when, in fact, the opposite was true.
Gypsy lied straight to your face. Straight to your face. Because all you got to do is fly a kite and you can go to mental health. I did it, and just for being afraid of mustard. Put me on a lie detector test. I want somebody to put me on a lie detector test. Seriously. Because she told me she did not need help. That she's fine. That's not true. At all. You can get help in prison. And especially the prison that we went to, because I'm doing good. I took prison for what it was, and I did good. It teaches you stability. She even got in trouble for tricking men while she was there. So, there's...
Even more damning was the betrayal of the close friend. One of Gypsy's former prison friends had been serving 2 life sentences, and Gypsy promised her that she would use her platform on the Kardashian show to raise awareness and advocate for her case. But when the cameras rolled, Gypsy made no mention of her friend. Instead, she focused solely on herself, talking about social media hate and her personal struggles with fame. This was a betrayal that shocked her friend, especially after Gypsy had promised to help. When the friend's girlfriend reached out to ask why she hadn't kept her word, Gypsy's response was a cold telling. She blocked them. Rather than taking responsibility, Gypsy simply cut ties, exposing yet another layer of her manipulative and self-serving behavior. This wasn't just about lying. This was about how Gypsy used people and discarded them once they no longer served her narrative. Gypsy's manipulation of those closest to her didn't stop with a Kardashian interview. Another friend, Rachel Garlic, was someone who genuinely tried to help Gypsy build a life after prison. They met while incarcerated, and together they started a TikTok page designed to raise Gypsy's profile and build a following in preparation for her release. Rachel worked hard to post frequently and engage with Gypsy's supporters, creating a platform for Gypsy to connect with those who had advocated for her. Many of these followers wrote letters to the parole board pleading for Gypsy's release, and even donated money to Gypsy's JPay account to support her while she was incarcerated. But Gypsy had other plans. As her parole hearing approached, she asked Rachel to stop posting, telling her the supporters really don't matter. It's all about securing the bag when I get out. This blanket dismissal of the very people who had fought for her release showed that Gypsy had no real gratitude for her supporters. She only saw them as tools to further her own goals. When Rachel confronted her about this, Gypsy turned the tables and accused Rachel of being upset because she could no longer post about her. This gaslighting behavior is a classic manipulative tactic. Rather than take accountability for her selfish actions, Gypsy twisted the situation to make Rachel seem like the one with the problem. Rachel, who had invested time, energy, and even her reputation into helping Gypsy, was left feeling used and discarded.
If you're a big fan of the act, then you're gonna love this. I found the actual Gypsy Rose's TikTok account. It's currently run by Gypsy Rose's friend Rachel, because as we all know, Gypsy Rose is still in prison. Rachel has complete contact with Gypsy, and they do Q&As and fun stuff like that all the time. Follow to keep up with Gypsy Rose.
Once again, Gypsy's true character was revealed. She wasn't interested in building genuine relationships, only in exploiting others to get what she wanted. Perhaps one of the most disturbing aspects of Gypsy's behavior is her tendency to co-opt the stories of others and pass them off as her own. A former friend from prison revealed that she had confided in Gypsy about her trauma, specifically about being abused by her grandfather. Gypsy had never mentioned anything similar about her own life.
I have a past of sexual abuse. So I was molested when I was 9 by my grandfather. And then in my relationship with Nick, there was some sexual abuse. It was just a very toxic relationship. So coming from a place where I never had a sex life, I never felt safe. It was like being used and abused.
But after hearing this story, she began incorporating it into her own narrative during interviews and documentaries. This wasn't the first time Gypsy had appropriated someone else's story. She also claimed that her mother had beaten her with wire hangers, a detail strikingly similar to a famous scene in the movie Mommy Dearest. These claims were never corroborated, and they raise serious questions about how much Gypsy's current narrative is based on reality and how much is a contrast designed to elicit sympathy. Why would Gypsy steal other people's stories? The answer is simple: victimhood sells. By crafting a more dramatic and traumatic backstory, Gypsy ensures that the public continues to see her as the ultimate victim, even as her actions reveal a much more manipulative individual. Every lie and fabricated story reinforces the narrative that Gypsy is a master at playing on public emotions to get what she wants. While Gypsy continues to claim that she wants nothing to do with fame, her actions suggest suggest otherwise. Since her release from prison, Gypsy has appeared on national television, shared intimate details of her life on social media, and even profited off her notoriety. Despite claiming that she didn't want fame or fortune, Gypsy has capitalized on public's fascination with her story at every point. The girl literally said that she's not in it for money or fame and she wants to be an advocate. Yet the only thing she's done so far is monetize off her own crime. Gypsy has done nothing to help victims or support advocacy causes. Instead, she has focused solely on profiting from her crime, using her platform to cash in on the public's sympathy. Her actions show a complete disregard for people who genuinely believed in her and fought for her freedom. Rather than using her story to make a difference, Gypsy has turned it into a money-making machine, all while continuing to play the role of the innocent victim. As we put all the pieces together, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's lies are getting worse, and her manipulative behavior shows no signs of stopping. From lying about therapy to betraying friends, stealing stories, and profiting off her crime, Gypsy has demonstrated a consistent pattern of deceit. Her claims of wanting to help others were nothing more than a carefully constructed facade designed to garner public sympathy. It's time to stop seeing Gypsy as a victim and start holding her accountable for her actions. She has a spun web of lies that is slowly unraveling, and as more people come forward with their stories, the truth about Gypsy Rose Blanchard is becoming impossible to ignore. Her manipulations, betrayals, and outright lies have gone on far too long, and the public deserves to know the full extent of her deception. Gypsy's lies are getting worse, and the narrative she has carefully crafted is falling apart. It's time to finally expose the truth behind Gypsy Rose Blanchard and hold her accountable for the harm she continues to cause.